Welcome to Worlds UK, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. In December 2025, Switzerland sent shockwaves through the global defense community by announcing a dramatic reduction in its planned order of 36 Lockheed Martin F-35A fighter jets. The decision was not just a routine adjustment, but a bold and unexpected move that caught military analysts and policymakers off guard. For a country known for its careful neutrality and meticulous planning, this was a signal that something significant was unfolding behind the scenes. This wasn't a minor tweak, it was a fundamental rethink of a multi-billion-dollar deal, sending shockwaves from Bern to Ottawa, where Canada was deep into its own F-35 procurement. The reverberations were felt not just in Europe, but across the Atlantic, as other nations watched closely, wondering if their own high-stakes defense contracts might be at risk. The Swiss move was a public warning, reminding the world that even so-called fixed-price deals can unravel under the weight of economic and political pressure. It exposed the fragility of international defense agreements, especially when global events disrupt supply chains and send costs soaring. Switzerland's 6 billion franc budget, which had been narrowly approved by voters after intense debate, was suddenly at risk. As inflation surged and supply chain disruptions mounted, the projected costs ballooned far beyond initial estimates, threatening to derail the entire project and spark a political crisis. For a nation where direct democracy and referendums are the foundation of governance, busting the budget was unthinkable. The Swiss public had spoken, and their trust in the process was paramount. Any breach of that trust could have lasting consequences for both the government and the military. Faced with mounting pressure, the government made a difficult choice. It opted for a smaller fleet, rather than risk breaking faith with its citizens. This decision exposed the real risks of cost overruns and the dangers of relying too heavily on a single foreign supplier for critical defense needs. For Canada, the timing could not have been more critical. As it negotiated its own F-35 deal, Canadian officials and the public watched the Swiss experience unfold, fueling debates about fiscal responsibility, transparency, and the true cost of next-generation air power. The Swiss experience became a live test case for the world, highlighting the urgent need for airtight contracts, rigorous oversight, and the willingness to reassess even the most prestigious deals when circumstances change. It was a clear signal to all. Without constant vigilance and adaptability, the pursuit of next-generation air power can quickly become a costly trap, threatening not just budgets, but the very trust between governments and their people. To grasp the impact of Switzerland's decision, you need to understand the F-35's appeal. The F-35 isn't just a fighter jet, it's a stealthy, networked flying computer that can evade radar, gather intelligence, and share data across the battlefield in real time. This leap in technology transforms pilots into battlefield managers and gives operators a decisive edge. For countries like Switzerland and Canada, the F-35 isn't just an upgrade, it's a generational shift, essential for modern defense and alliance interoperability. That's why nations tolerate its high costs and complex history. The F-35 promises future-proof air power and a seat at the table with top-tier allies. Any reduction in orders isn't just about money, it's a strategic decision with far-reaching consequences. Switzerland's F-35 cutback was driven by a collision of rising costs and strict democratic rules. The story is a revealing look at how a small, neutral country navigates the pressures of modern defense procurement, where every franc is scrutinized and public opinion holds real power. In 2020, Swiss voters capped the budget at 6 billion francs in a binding referendum, expecting a fixed price for their new fighter jets. This wasn't just a guideline, it was a hard ceiling, reflecting the Swiss tradition of direct democracy, where citizens have the final say on major government spending. But by late 2025, costs for 36 jets soared past the cap, with only parts of the contract truly fixed. The rest was vulnerable to market shifts, currency fluctuations, and unforeseen expenses, making the original price tag more of a moving target than a guarantee. U.S. officials cited inflation and global pressures, pushing the price for 35 jets to over $7.5 billion. The global supply chain crisis and rising material costs only made things worse, leaving Swiss negotiators with little room to maneuver. Politically, The Swiss government couldn't ask for more money without defying the referendum. Any attempt to override the public's decision would have sparked outrage and possibly triggered another vote, threatening the government's credibility. Trade tensions with the US only heightened public wariness about the deal. Concerns grew that Switzerland might be pressured into an unfavorable agreement, or that its neutrality could be compromised by such a high-profile purchase. The F-35's escalating price became a matter of national pride and sovereignty, not just accounting. For many Swiss, sticking to the budget was about defending their democratic process and independence, not just saving money. Ultimately, Switzerland chose to buy only as many jets as the original budget allowed, prioritizing fiscal discipline over military wish lists. The decision was a clear signal that, for Switzerland, responsible governance and respect for the public's will come before expanding military capabilities. The move sent a clear message: even the most advanced hardware has limits when democracy and economics collide. Switzerland's stance became a case study in how public oversight can shape national defense, even in a world of rising threats. It was a pragmatic, if painful, lesson for any nation considering similar deals. In Switzerland, the will of the people and the realities of the market ultimately decide what's possible, no matter how advanced the technology on offer. The Swiss F-35 saga tapped into a deeper European anxiety over reliance on the US for critical defense. The F-35's software, logistics and data are tightly controlled by the US, raising fears of operational vulnerability. Lawmakers warned that Washington could, in theory, ground Allied fleets by withholding updates or support. Switzerland's own trade disputes with the US underscored how quickly alliances can be tested. This has pushed countries like Spain and Portugal to explore European alternatives seeking more strategic autonomy. The Swiss decision, though about cost, resonated as a step toward reducing dependence on a single foreign supplier. In Ottawa, Switzerland's F-35 ordeal was a wake-up call. Canada, facing its own tight budget and public scrutiny, saw the real risk of cost overruns and political fallout. The Swiss experience underscored the need for rigorous due diligence and contract clarity. Canadian officials immediately re-examined every detail of their procurement, identifying potential loopholes and inflation risks. The focus shifted from the jet's capabilities to the resilience of the contract. Switzerland's caution gave Canada the foresight to press for stronger safeguards. The lesson was clear: better to be overly cautious than caught off guard by predictable surprises. Prudence became the new watchword for Canada's largest military purchase in a generation. Armed with Switzerland's cautionary tale, Canada adopted a tougher, more detailed approach to its F-35 deal. Negotiators demanded explicit guarantees, separating fixed aircraft costs from more variable support and training expenses. Canada pushed for transparency and clauses to cap exposure to inflation and supply chain shocks. As a long-time F-35 industrial partner, Canada leveraged its status to demand greater price certainty. The goal: build a financial firewall to protect taxpayers from runaway costs. This wasn't about doubting the F-35's value, but about ensuring affordability and accountability. Canada's proactive stance aimed to prevent a Swiss-style crisis before it could start. Switzerland's decision to reduce its F-35 order reignited a heated debate in Ottawa about the risks and rewards of relying on a single fighter type for national defense. The move prompted Canadian policymakers and defense experts to reconsider whether putting all their eggs in one basket is truly the best approach for a country with such unique security needs. The Swiss seriously considered adopting a mixed fleet, pairing a smaller number of advanced F-35s with more affordable jets, like the Gripen or Eurofighter, to handle routine patrols and training missions. This strategy would allow them to balance cutting-edge capability with cost-effective operations, ensuring that their air force remains both modern and sustainable. For Canada, a nation with vast, often remote airspace and a wide range of defense requirements, this approach offers several practical benefits. It provides affordable mass, greater operational flexibility, and reduces dependency on any single supplier or technology. A mixed fleet can be tailored to meet both peacetime and crisis needs, adapting to changing threats and missions as they arise. By fielding a combination of aircraft, Canada could preserve its high-end F-35s for the most demanding, high-threat scenarios, while using less costly, easier-to-maintain jets for daily patrols, sovereignty missions, and training. This not only extends the lifespan of expensive assets, but also ensures that the Air Force is always ready for a range of contingencies. A diversified fleet also acts as a hedge against political or supply chain risks that can arise from relying too heavily on a single foreign partner. If one supplier faces delays, cost overruns, or diplomatic tensions, Canada's Air Force would still have other options to maintain readiness and sovereignty. While Canada remains committed to acquiring the F-35 as its primary fighter, the Swiss example has made mixed fleet planning a credible and increasingly attractive long-term option. Defense analysts now see value in flexibility and resilience, not just raw technological superiority. The lesson is clear: not every mission requires a stealth jet. By embracing strategic diversity, Canada can strengthen its Air Force, manage costs, and ensure it is prepared for whatever the future may bring. Canada's response to the Swiss warning marks a shift toward balancing alliance power with national autonomy. By tightening contracts and considering future fleet diversity, Canada secures F-35 capabilities while hedging against over-dependence. This isn't a rejection of U.S. partnership, but a mature move towards self-reliance in a volatile world. The F-35 keeps Canada at the cutting edge and fully interoperable with NATO and NORAD. But lessons from Switzerland have instilled caution. Cost control and strategic flexibility now shape defense planning. Canada's approach blends alliance commitment with sovereign foresight, strengthening its position as a reliable, independent actor. The choices made today will define Canada's security and reputation for decades. Fighter jet deals may seem distant, but the Swiss F-35 warning has real consequences for Canadians. Billions are at stake. Every dollar saved through tough negotiations means more for healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Preventing overruns protects the public purse and ensures defense spending doesn't crowd out essential services. The right jets, in the right numbers, at the right price, are crucial for safeguarding Canada's vast airspace and sovereignty. Strategic choices also shape Canada's global standing and influence. By learning from Switzerland, Canada is protecting its future, finances, and independence. That's why this story matters to every Canadian.